This is the state of the solar at the moment. I've got these 4 panels. They're, I think, supposed to be about 260 watts, and they are in series parallel. So 2 of them in series, 2 of them in series, and then each of those pairs are in parallel. That goes through a Victron 120, so it can take up to 100 volts in, and it will put up to 20 amps into the battery at the battery's voltage. And it does okay. Of course, I've got, so this is on the south side of the building, and as the sun goes down, it gets closer to fall and winter, then they start getting shaded. But I do get some generation out of that. The other small array, and most of this has worked fine because I'm not down here that much, and I really didn't have a whole lot of electrical uses. The other array, and you can see they're already fully in the shade. It's about 3 o'clock, so they don't get a whole lot. But again, those are like 280 panels, and they are in completely in series, mainly because they're going into a Victron 150/35. So that charge controller can handle a little bit more voltage, so I can go ahead and put them in series. And it's a little bit longer run with that 10 gauge wire. But they only get full sun, and the bad thing about being in series is they all need to be in full sun to really produce. If any one of them is half shaded, you don't get a whole lot of production. The main reason I had them there is originally I was feeding into a shed that's behind the RV, so that was closer, and it was out of the easement and stuff like that. What I want to do, and I had a second one of these bright mounts back behind it. What I'm wanting to do, because I've taken the panels off, I've got this other bright mount right here. This is the original version, and if you notice, it's in full sun. So what I've been thinking about doing is taking this is still a temporary thing. We'll see what happens. Eventually I need a really good, like 3000 volt or 3000 watt array right here if possible, until I can get more trees down at least. But this is the biggest, sunniest spot. But I mean, that's a big project to put up, whether it's a pergola, whether it's a carport, whether it's a building or whatever. But to get about a 22 by 11 roof that's south facing, that's gonna be a pretty good project. And I'm still not sure exactly what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. Temporarily, if I can get this array, this bright mount, mounted, and I don't have them anchored to anything. They're just sitting on the ground because this is such a protected little area from high winds, and I've had no problem whatsoever. I'm thinking about move the little burn barrel thing there, find my true east-west, pull that bright mount out in front a little bit. I may have to move the carport frame. I'm just kind of seeing if it will fit or not. Move it back. I may just leave that where it is. But to anchor it down, I've got some really heavy concrete blocks that are about like 3 or 4 regular of these bigger concrete blocks. So imagine the weight of, say, 3 of these in a square and about that thick as a single concrete block. If I've got 4 of those, I'm going to level them out where the mounts are on this bright mount. They only mount in one place. So you got 4 bolts right there. You can plug into whatever you need. I was thinking about putting some sono tubes, pouring concrete, making a little pier, getting it up a little bit higher, but that's a semi-permanent thing, and it's a lot of concrete. And since I haven't had any problems, if I can just put those 4 really, really heavy blocks there and they're level, I can put that on there, drill the holes, put in some tap cons, go ahead and move the solar panels, not the ones that are mounted there, but I've got them stacked on the other one, move them up here, get them wired in series, move my cable over here. So basically I've got the same array just up here with full sun more of the day. I have been pulling in about 4 kilowatt hours a day. Without the mini split going, 4 kilowatt hours a day would give me about, oh, I might increase the batteries about 10% a day, a state of charge of those 6 EG4 100 amp hour 48 volt so batteries. I'd gain about 10% a day. So I mean, if I came down here and ran them down to 50%, it would take me 5 or 6 days of not being down here, not doing anything, just to get the batteries all the way charged up without using the generator. And you might say, well, where is all that power going if you're not down here? Well, the inverter itself takes about, I think, 40 or 50 watts of power for the inverter just to be on, not powering any loads. So there's a draw. The 2 buck converters use just a little bit. If I've got any 12 volt things, the little 12 volt fan on the composting toilet, I mean, it's just a trickle, but it's still just a little bit it takes. The Starlink can take 40 or 50 watts continuously for the Starlink, and that's when it's warm, it's not having to warm up. So I mean, there's several little phantom loads. The refrigerator, which is a chest freezer that I've got converted over just with a plug-in device that makes it act like a refrigerator so that it doesn't freeze everything. So just those loads, are probably altogether taking about 3.5 kilowatt hours a day, over the course of 24 hours. So if I could move those, if I can move those other panels up here in the full sun, then let's see, do I get 5 or 6 kilowatt hours a day? How much do I get? Just kind of incremental. With the mini split now working, then if I leave it on its highest setting, which is 86 degrees is the highest I can set it, that at least keeps the inside of the cabin from getting really hot. I mean, I've got recordings of temperatures inside the cabin of close to 100. I mean, it ramps up and down slowly, but it still does eventually, if nothing's cooling it down, even with all the really good insulation, it does eventually creep up. And I've got books, I've got musical instruments and different things in there, and there's also heat being generated from the charge controllers and from the inverter. They're electronic devices, and if they're pumping a kilowatt of juice into the batteries, then there's some heat coming off, so that heats up the inside. So if I can keep it at least at 86 when I'm not here, then that would be nice. And as I have more power available, maybe I could knock it down. I'm not going to keep it at 72 for days on end if I'm not here, but I can keep it closer. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to see if I've got at least 4 of those blocks. If I happen to have 8, then that would be even better, because I'll just construction adhesive 2 of them together in a stack and then tap con. That'll get the panels up even a little bit higher, easier to mow around and stuff. Of course, after that, if I need to move them, I'll have to use a tractor to move them. I still may need to use a tractor to move them. Be a lot easier. But yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to try to do. And I may move the panels basically as close to my little driveway as possible and leave room. That's about 15 foot wide. And then that way I might have a chance, once I've got these wired up and going, start getting some data, I might disassemble the other one that's down there, see if I've got enough room to move it up. If I can't keep it perfectly in line, then I may have to angle it a little bit, which would be a little bit more morning sun. I just have to put it on a different charge controller. I wish I had enough room to put them in a straight line and get like 8 of the panels pointing due south, and I'd have all 8 in series. If I could do that, then I could plug them as a series string directly into that EG4 3000 inverter into its charge controller, because it can take up to 500 volts, and let it be a charge controller in and of itself. I just don't know that I've got 30 feet straight that I can do that without moving it so close to the cabin that in the middle of winter, when the sun's at the lowest angle, that I'll lose my sun. I would rather have it you know, one string farther back getting sun all year long than have 8 panels up close only getting sun half to 2/3 of the year, because then a third of the year they're doing nothing. So that's the plan for the moment. It's later in the afternoon. I've still got to go to Home Depot. I'll have to go there to get the tap cons when I figure out what size those holes are. And while I'm there, I'm going to get one of those little grabber claw things for picking up parts, because I dropped one of the nuts in the battery I'm building. As is normal, you got to be ready to change plans slightly. I only had 2 of the concrete blocks I was thinking about, but what do I have plenty of? I've got probably about maybe 3/4 of a pallet worth of these concrete blocks. So what I think I'm going to do is, since I could construction adhese them together if I wanted to and fill them with concrete if I wanted to. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 of them like they're laid out, get them leveled, you know, each way and within each other. If I can get that done, then I may put 2 more the other way and then fill them with concrete. That will make one larger, much larger solid block. And when I do all of that, when I do my tap cons, hopefully I may kind of put like a skim coat on top, or I may even just, well, the other solid blocks that I've got, I may have some smaller thin ones I could cap it with, because I want a contiguous solid piece of concrete on top to put the tap cons into, just so that they'll hold better. We'll see. But I'm thinking I can put these almost all the way in the ground so that they are actually below ground level, and then put the next 2 on top so that the ultimate height will be something like what you see here, maybe a smidge higher. Altogether, that'll be even more stable than what I was thinking. So it's kind of almost the sonotube type method, but with materials I've already got. So all I've really got to buy is the tap cons and the bags of concrete to fill in the center of it. They'll still be somewhat movable with a tractor later if I need to. I'll probably have to use the backhoe to pull them out and put them in a bucket or something like that. I guess I could put some eye hooks if I went ahead and, while I'm doing this, if I bought some eye hooks or some other kind of hook I could put in the 4 corners as I'm filling the concrete in. Then later I could just put chains on them and pick them up and move them if I needed to later. That might be a good idea. Or not do that, and then if I do need to move them, then I can drill holes and tap con, or I'll already have holes here. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, is I'm just going to use 4 of these, make a short little pier. I've got them laid out as best I can in line, and it's going to take me a little bit because it is hot. It is in the 90s, and I am so out of shape. It's amazing how out of shape I am. I've been caring for my parents for the last 4 years, and at least 3 of that I've pretty much been sitting on my butt downstairs on the computer trying to stay awake, because at any moment I might have to go upstairs to do whatever needs to be done. But it ends up with me not getting a lot of physical activity, and I can feel it. It is horrible. I hate this. I know I'm getting older, I expect that, but I should be in better shape than I am, and that's what I'm hoping to do. Generator's running. I was going to try to top off the batteries before I had to leave to later today, but apparently I need to leave as soon as possible. But I'm still going to let them charge up. I'm going to run the last of the gas out of the generator to let it run as long as it can, charge up my batteries as much as possible. Of course, then I need to let it cool down before I cover it, although I might be able to run down here quickly tomorrow and put the cover on before it rains. So here's what I kind of finally ended up doing. I've got 2 of the pavers down, just your regular thinner pavers down there, kind of do a better base. 2 of these concrete blocks, and then I'm going to put 1 paver on top, maybe this way, fill the blocks with concrete, and then fill it up enough that if I've got the paver here, I'll make just a little bit of a slope for water runoff. And the reason I want to put a solid paver on top, even when I fill all this in, because of where these bolts are, these holes are, I want a solid block. I don't want it to be over this seam. So I think that that'll get it up another couple of inches and hopefully just make it a little bit more stable. That whole block is going to be, what, 100, 110 pounds or more each. It's a pretty good base. We'll see what happens. I got 1, 2, 3 of them kind of laid out before it got too dark and buggy last night. I was hoping to finish this today, this part of it, and then I was going to go get the bags of concrete, mix it, fill it, get all that done, and let it be curing until I can come back next weekend. However, I'm not going to be able to do that. It's probably going to rain 2 or 3 times before I get back. Hopefully that won't be too bad. But so that basically means next weekend, if I'm able to come down, get this one dug in, leveled, you know, each way, and level with those, get the concrete, mix the concrete, fill it in, give that, I think I'm going to set my on just that, just get this one dug in and then get them all concreted and let them cure for a week before I come back, drill the holes, and mount this. So that's going to take, you know, so it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks to do something that should be a weekend job. That's just the nature of my life, I guess. I never know when I'm going to be able to get down here and if I'm going to be able to stay. This is my first weekend, supposedly, of a regular schedule of doing this, and very first weekend I'm already having to go back early. Well, such is life, I guess. But yeah, so I'm just cleaning things up, running the gas out of the generator, putting all that energy into the batteries. I guess that's it, all I get to do. The asparagus that's in here, I got a few off of it. It's still kind of getting ready, you know, getting better and growing. I've moved it out where it gets a lot more sun from where it did do. I've got a lot of berries. I need to pick all of those, and I may pick some of those right now and just see if I can put them in something, let them start drying out. So this would be, you know, seed for starting more. Got a lot of lamb's quarter here going to seed. I probably need to clip all of that, get that out. I'll put sometime in the next few months, I'll try to put a few more, bit more soil or compost or something in here. Sunchokes, so that's full of sunchokes, and they started to die back because they're basically using up all the water, and I haven't irrigated them. I may do that right now. I may put some in there. We're supposed to get some more rain the next few days. And then these are true yams. They're doing okay. The problem is deer. So the deer are coming in and eating them, and if they keep doing that, I'm not gonna get anything. So me being here more often should help on that. The other thing I've done that's actually helped a little bit is, luckily, being a guy, I come out here and I pee on it. So that waters it and fertilizes them, but it also puts a strong scent, human scent on it, and that seems to be helping. These rows, I mean, I didn't expect to get a harvest. I didn't think they'd get this grassy, but I haven't had time to be out here to clean them. So screw it. I guess I'm just gonna have to let it go, and then when winter comes, I'll mow everything down. Hopefully I can find the trees in there. I might have to wait till it all freezes and dies. Hopefully I can find the trees and not mow them down, and then just treat it like a lawn for next year and cover it with plastic or something if I want to be able to grow anything in here, or think that I want to or something. I guess the good thing is we've got living roots, so it is building soil. The squash didn't do a whole lot. Again, the deer keep coming in. I've got cages around the 2 elderberries because the deer had eaten them down, and they weren't going to make it if I didn't protect them. The fig seems to be trying. I'm not sure if the deer have been eating the fig leaves or not, but That's from a stick that or cutting that I got from a family member. Comfort is doing pretty good on this end, so that's good. I've got more that I can transplant out. But yeah, I mean, basically I didn't expect much of a harvest this year, and that's good because I'm not going to get much of a harvest this year because I don't have time to maintain it. I don't know. I just keep plugging away as best I can. I don't know what else to do.